can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So,
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. Right, on the show today, India continues to stand firm against Pakistan in the aftermath of the terror attack in Kashmir, as calls to boycott cricketing ties between the two countries only grow louder. One sport has withdrawn their team from a tournament that's to be held in Pakistan. More on the show up ahead. Virat Kohli exacts his revenge as Bengaluru beats Delhi in Delhi. He gives a fitting reply to KL Rahul and critics who've been asking why he didn't leave T20 earlier. And this for that winning fiery display that KL Rahul had in Chennaswamy. The bragging rights and what's at stake in the IPL, all of that coming up. And Liverpool end the long wait for Premier League title in grand style. The fans, the players and most importantly Arne Slot. What are the stories emerging from this victory and how did Liverpool manage to transition post the Jurgen Klopp exit? Much lined up today for you, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the IPL, Mumbai beat Lucknow by 51 runs to move to third spot in the points table. Ryan Rickelton's 58 and Surya Kumar Yadav's 54 powered Mumbai to a daunting 215. In response, Jasprit Bumrah picked up 4 wickets to rattle Lucknow's batting lineup. The Indian pacer also became the highest wicket taker for Mumbai in the IPL, surpassing Lasith Malinga's tally of 170 wickets to close out the win. In football, Manchester United salvaged a 1-1 draw against Bournemouth in the Premier League. After Bournemouth struck first, United failed to go ahead. The Red Devils got some hope after Bournemouth's Eva Nilsson was shown a red card in the 70th minute. Rasmus Højlund's stoppage time goal helped United maintain their 14th position on the points table. Manchester City's 2025 season might not go title-less. Pep Guardiola's men beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. Rico Lewis hit the back of the net in the second minute. Joško Guardiol scored the winner in the 51st. City will now face Crystal Palace to win their lone title of the season. In tennis, former world number 1 Novak Djokovic crashed out of the Madrid Open in the first round. The Serb lost to Matteo Arnaldi in straight sets. After the loss, the world number 5 said this could be his last Madrid Open visit. Djokovic hasn't won a title since his Paris Olympics triumph last year. And summing it up with news from NBA, Minnesota Timberwolves registered a narrow 116-113 victory over Los Angeles Lakers. Luka Doncic's 38-point performance was only overshadowed by Anthony Edwards' 43-point brilliance. Timberwolves now lead 3-1 in the series with 3 more matches to go. India's crackdown on Pakistan continues after the Pahalgam attack last week. Now, while the government is imposing restrictions and retaliating by implementing major changes, the sporting world is not behind. They're showing that they want to be just as stringent in this clampdown to stand with the government, alongside them. And it is one of the most popular sports in the subcontinent that is under the spotlight. India's cricketing fraternity wants all ties with their neighbours to be snipped. Joining the growing voices is former India captain Sourav Ganguly. The clamour for cutting sporting ties seems to have materialized across various disciplines. I'll come to that in just a bit, but some strong cricketing names are leading this resistance, expressing their hurt, anguish and anger at the situation. The reactions and responses come as no surprise. At least 26 innocent civilians were killed and many others injured in the heinous terror attack that Kashmir's Pahalgam witnessed. And if cricketers are demanding that no ties should be entertained between the two countries, it shows you the kind of impact that this has had on the whole nation. Because this is one rivalry that has survived despite all geopolitical tensions that have spread across decades and under different governments. It has been a crowd puller and a massive revenue generator for the sport. One such athlete who has been a part of all of this, India's former captain Sourav Ganguly, And while he has had his share of feuds and memorable moments with Pakistani players during his career of being a part of the biggest cricketing rivalry in the sport, that feeling doesn't exist anymore. Ganguly called the terror attack unacceptable and questioned the reason for sporting ties to remain unaffected when Pakistan as a country was doing nothing to prevent or reduce this.
तोड़ना भी चाहिए 100% तोड़ना चाहिए स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन लेना ज़रूरी है ये कोई मजाक नहीं है यार हर साल ऐसे होता रहता है टेररिज्म कैन नॉट बी टॉलरेटेड
What's most shocking is that while the whole of India is in mourning and both countries are on a razor-thin edge on the brink of a possible war, Pakistanis are seeing the funny side of it, if there was even one. Pakistan has always never hesitated in calling out their own authorities. They have never stepped back from trolling their own people when they've messed up. This, though, seems to be strange. And the seemingly light-hearted vein is polar opposite to the way India and Indians have moved on from this attack. The first strong step has come from volleyball. India was set to send a 30-member delegation for the Central Asian Volleyball Tournament that was set to be held in Islamabad next month. But following the attack, India has withdrawn their team from the event. The withdrawal is just a minor indication of how India could respond in the coming months and across other sporting events and disciplines, because this time the whole nation is trying its best to stand with the government in what they believe and perceive to be an attack on its people. Just recently, India's Hockey Federation stood firm in a follow-up to the government's diktat that no Pakistani player will get visas. This was for the Men's Hockey Asia Cup, which India is set to host later this year. Another setback for the already struggling nation that is grappling with far too many concerns as is, sports included. Pakistan aren't the once dominant force that they were in. Hockey, yes. Misery loves company. So cricket too, of late, seems to have joined hands here. And the situation is no better in other sporting disciplines either. The not-so-major sports are trying to stay afloat, battling lack of infrastructure, funds, and the right kind of backing from the country itself, who seems to be more concerned with counter-attacking rather than clamping down on terrorism. The sense we are getting or observing from the sidelines is only two things here. One, India standing resolute and attempting to take a tough stance, especially across sport as well, and Pakistan slowly getting cornered despite the misplaced sense of indignance. Pakistan is aware that the only thing that has kept cricket alive in their country despite a trophy-less last few years has been their matchups with India. And with the appeal and insistence of putting an end to that only growing louder, the future definitely looks bleak for the former world champions. Now, while there is a lot riding on an India-Pakistan affair for everyone involved, will the authorities invested in this push the envelope to set an example and break the inevitable cycle that Pakistan seems to have made a habit of? The one reason Delhi has had a phenomenal season at the Indian Premier League has been because of one middle-order batter, KL Rahul. And the reason Bengaluru could just possibly bring an 18-year-long jinx could be because of their number 18, Virat Kohli. Now, both these amazing athletes play together for India. They've stitched memorable and key partnerships out in the middle together. But IPL is war. It's franchise cricket, yes, but there's a lot at stake. Because this is what gives you bragging rights. It's where you can truly say you've triumphed over the other. And when that doesn't happen, it can hurt just as much. Because tempers have been known to flare up mostly among teammates. We've seen that in the past, who have crossed over to opposite franchises. Players have got even physical with each other, and it's also traversed generations. Players having a run-in with their future head coach as well when Kohli and Gambhir clashed last year. Face-offs like these just don't get old or cease. That's what we've seen always in IPL. So definitely, this league brings out the best and the worst in all, because there's always a point to prove, and that's what we witnessed last night when Bengaluru beat Delhi in an away game, exacting revenge for the loss they had at home. But it was not just a simple tit-for-tat scenario. KL Rahul had been the match winner for Delhi back then, scoring 90-plus runs and remaining unbeaten to script a super run chase against Bengaluru in what was his city. And he had made a dramatic celebration to prove just that. And Virat Kohli, being Virat Kohli, the one that we've seen over the years, of course, it doesn't matter the situation, and clearly it doesn't matter the teammate either. He returned the favour in equal measure. He stitched a match-winning partnership alongside Krunal Pandya to steady Bengaluru and take them home. He did not stay till the end, but his contribution was invaluable, proving once again what a master he is at chasing down targets, how he is clinical when it comes to planning the most difficult of chases, and he executes them to a T. But the highlight was his celebration and how he gave it back to KL Rahul, an ex-Bengaluru franchise member himself. Virat saying this was Delhi and that belongs to him. Now, if Bengaluru is about KL Rahul, we know how much Delhi is about Virat Kohli. He may have little to do with the city now, but the most vivid memory that comes to mind of recent times is when the Ranji game took place and he played here. Left little impact on the game itself with his bat, but Delhi woke up to domestic cricket once more thanks to Virat Kohli's presence. So trust the social media machinery to spring alive even after Bengaluru's win last night. They celebrated Krunal Pandya's gutsy display and, most importantly, Virat Kohli's T20 prowess that led to the perfect revenge subplot in the movie that is the Indian Premier League. Leading the many experts and critics who had wondered why Kohli was still playing T20 cricket a while back to eat their own words, Kohli has completely transformed his T20 power game as an opener post-retirement. Particularly, his strike rate is shades better than what it was earlier, and that's become the prime reason for Bengaluru's rise to the top of the standings this season.
I still think that Virat Kohli retired early from T20I cricket. He could have played until 2026 based on the rhythm with which he is playing right now, and the rhythm during the 2025 Champions Trophy as well.
Sounds wistful, but imagine what he can do if he donned the blue in the shortest format once again. While the thought is too far-fetched to be true, Virat has surely made everyone sit up and take notice of how he's completely turned a 360-degree on his T20 career, and how Bengaluru is only lapping it all up. April 27th, around 1824, 6:24 British Standard Time, half of football fans in England were looking for a place to hide. Specifically, supporters of Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, to name a few, who were trying their best to plug their ears because the noise at Anfield was so loud that it thundered across England. The newly crowned Premier League champions Liverpool FC celebrated their success in some style after a 5-1 win over struggling Tottenham. And it's not like the Reds were winning the league after decades. They were EPL title holders just 4 seasons ago, and yet this was a moment 35 years in waiting. Yes, I say 35, despite Liverpool winning the league in 2020, because the 2020 triumph was a muted affair. Pandemic had robbed the league and the sport of the presence of fans. The Kopitis had this time come in droves, were involved much more than the 11 players themselves against Tottenham on the night. Because the story was not about the scoreline, about how Tottenham was routed 5-1. It was about fans proving why "You will never walk alone" will be the most iconic chant in football world. The sea of red was so dominant that a few thousand Tottenham supporters were hard to find. And the Reds weren't overpowering Anfield, but all of England was donning the Liverpool colour. Why not? With this, they levelled their biggest rivals, Manchester United, to the tally of 20 league titles. Once again, the star of the show for the Reds was Premier League's highest foreign goal scorer, Mohamed Salah. Not because the Egyptian scored Liverpool's 4th goal, but because he followed it up with a celebration that might turn out to be the most iconic one at the Kop stand. Sure, the 2020 triumph under former manager Jurgen Klopp was special for the club because it was a title Liverpool had waited 30 long years for. So the win was emotional, but the 2025 victory will be etched in everyone's memories for years to come, because the same fans who were locked inside their homes 5 years ago were walking down the Anfield Road and all across the Liverpool docks, reliving an even more special moment.
Just an immense atmosphere from start to finish. I've never seen the concourse so full.
So early.
So early, so prepared. Half an hour before, it's just bouncing in there. Absolutely stunning performance by the Red Men. So proud.
What made this win more iconic was this was manager Arne Slot's debut season. Following the exit of Jurgen Klopp, the club was expected to be in a transition phase, as happens across multiple team sports when legends decide to move on. Sure, Slot was deemed as a great manager coming in, but carrying over from a coach who was the cog around whom Anfield stood wasn't going to be easy. Yes, it did help when Klopp himself hyped up Slot's arrival. But it still wasn't going to be a deal done in stone. Slot's approach was much different from that of Klopp's. Here is a manager who isn't as expressive as Klopp has been on the sidelines. And for players too, they had been used to Klopp's tactics for close to a decade. That transition was neither easy for fans nor for the players or the management themselves. But Arne Slot proved them all wrong. He not only took Liverpool to their first league title, but handled the chaotic contract situation of Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk with maturity. While the world kept criticizing Slot for delaying the contract extensions of these two stars, he quietly answered them with 2 more years of Salah and Van Dijk magic, all showing that he isn't just running a business. He's channeling the Liverpool emotions into something far bigger. Because while his rivals are splurging cash on buying the big money players, Slot is busy utilizing what Klopp left behind for him and carrying it forward into a deadly unit. Which is the reason why he has a happy front line led by Salah for the next season. A solid defense under the leadership of Van Dijk and a bench full of youngsters, all making up for a threatening Liverpool when they come to defend their title next year. Time for last serve. Madrid is set to become the only European capital to host an F1 race in 2026, and as the construction work begins for the circuit, here's a sneak peek of how it could possibly shape up to look. That wraps up an action-packed Monday Firstpost for you. Do stay tuned for more on Firstpost. I'll see you again tomorrow for lots on the sporting world. Bye.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India. What we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.